They validating these bodies, I never hype hoes. I do the gallery because I got tired of wearing tight clothes. You diss me on the internet, that's just a typo. You love to talk that rich shit, but we know that you tight, bro. And honestly, it would be better if you claim it. Cause when I was down bad, it wasn't no one that could shame it. I'm trying to hear you now like them other hoes, you can save it. Cause I don't got a problem with hoes, and you my favorite. I was swerving in the latest, Baccarat and fragrance. When you ballin', know they wanna do you foul, it's a flavor. Rich Paul, the only way I'll ever be around the Asian. It's like I keep getting better with time, my shit is age. I bodied every platform, they don't rap like me. Independent made $1 million, they don't trap like me. You never put your whole state up on your back like me. You never hate me, still put up and get back like me. Rapid blinds while I've been doing numbers. It's dangerous to be a rapper, make it through the summer. I just come down to Boston, I'm riding through the summer. Tunnel in my city, bitch, I'm with them gunners. No, with them gunners. All this money on me, I can make it for this. I'm in the front with a farm, bitch, she gorgeous. I want no bougie hoe, I like them on some horse shit. Take the top down and then the floor, cause I'm lawless. I told them I'm really, I don't never take. Fuck what they be saying, they irrelevant. All around me like the president.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Matty Ice here with Profit Props. This is the sharp side. Pardon me if I still sound a little under the weather. Still dealing with a little bit of COVID or some bullshit. Really don't know what it is, but we're getting through it. The plan for today's date, for today's slate, is to go over the early 1 o'clock, 9:30 and 1 o'clock slates in the NFL. We've got the Vikings, Steelers at 9:30 in the morning Eastern. So if you're on the West Coast, that's 6:30 a.m. And then we'll go through all the 1 o'clock games, and then we'll call it there. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll do all the 4 o'clocks, the 8 p.m., and most likely the 2 Monday night games. Keep in mind we have 2 Monday nights, a doubleheader. As always, though, let me recap yesterday first on the straights. We went 2-1. We missed JSN by a fucking yard and a half, and he had 0 in the first half. Finished with 79. We had over 80 and a half. We played a good number. I'd play it again. Kyler Murray was like the easiest shit of all time, over 31 and a half passing attempts. I think he finished with somewhere between 41 and 43. Trey Benson under 60 and a half. I want to say he was around like 30. So that was quite easy. We did have an anytime touchdown. It was just on the FanDuel promo, but we did cash. Marvin Harrison Jr. did find his way into the end zone. We cashed that at plus 165. And then our long shot lotto missed. Sam Darnold over 250 and JSN over 100. JSN, as I said, finished with 79. And I want to say Darnold was at 248. It's a pretty good day, profitable day. I've got a lot already out for this weekend. I believe 9 pending, and I think they're all in that early slate. So we'll get into it. I've got coverage data. I've got a lot of data you're not going to get from a lot of people, pardon me, in the industry. And you're just going to have to deal with me sounding like shit for the next 2 or 3 streams. It's been 7 days now since I've had this little sickness, fellas, and it's just not shaking anytime soon. All right, let's start. We're going to go game by game. Obviously, we'll start in let me give this a refresh. We're going to start in the Minnesota-Pittsburgh game. Again, 9:30 Eastern. I do have one play in terms of passing yards. I locked in Aaron Rodgers under 213 and a half passing yards last night at MGM. We're going to go check current price on this. Now, I want to say there was a 211 still available. 213 and a half is still available at Hard Rock. Go hammer that right now. First play for today. And we're going to get more into coverages and a whole bunch of shit, but let's just get that off in the beginning. Let me get that to the banner, and then we'll break it down. Scroll across the bottom, add banner. All right, so why am I on Aaron Rodgers under 213 and a half passing yards? Well, to begin with, it was a great number versus the market. 202, 203, 200, 203, 202. As you can see, a lot of people in the market are far below this. And if, let me see something real quick. So Aaron Rodgers has slowly ticked down on his line at FanDuel, opening at 208.5 and ticking down now all the way down to 202. I made this number about 180. So if we dive into a little more about the coverages of these teams, Minnesota has played the most cover 2 in the NFL. They're also playing the most cover 6 in the NFL. Pittsburgh, however, is playing a lot of cover 1 and cover 3. Pittsburgh, these teams are polar opposites in this way. Pittsburgh's playing the most cover 1 in the entire. No, I'm sorry. Pittsburgh's playing the most 1 high in the NFL this season, and I think it's by a pretty. They're at 67.3%. Atlanta's at 67, and then we're falling quicker and quicker and quicker. So at the most 1 high, I'm also going to attack Justin Jefferson on the other side. But let's talk about Aaron Rodgers versus 2 high this season, and it'll lead me into another receiving prop. Rodgers versus 2 high, seeing his average depth of target drop significantly. That makes sense, right? You're seeing Calvin Austin and Jaylen Warren getting more of those both targets, receptions, and yards. I do believe, let me double check this. I do believe Jaylen Warren is leading this Steelers offense in yards versus 2 high. Let me double check that. Again, all of this data will be coming to you all soon. Pardon me. Calvin Austin leads the team as 2 high as wide receiver, but Jaylen Warren does lead the team as a whole in yards versus 2 high. So let me just allow that to transition into my next play. I will touch on this. Carson Wentz number, I think, is actually fairly accurate. I made this number. 1 second. Carson Wentz. I made this number 216.67. And the line is 212. I would lean slightly over to that, but nothing official for me there. Let me go ahead and look at Rodgers' attempts and completions before we move. I'm already on the under yardage. I assume that's probably where I stay. All right, so I do lean under on each, though. 18.34 is my completions number. So these 20.5s look pretty appetizing to me, but not as much as the yards, especially with the value I got. In attempts, I'm at 28.09, lines at 30.5. If you can get a 30.5 juice to the over, I wouldn't hate it. Let me go look at line history. So completions, Aaron Rodgers. Looks like FanDuel really hasn't moved. They've been holding strong at that 19.5 line. Attempts, same shit, holding pretty tight at that 30.5. Same for DraftKings. All right, interesting. You do have MGM 31.5 minus 140 to the over. Not as interested in that one. So let's go ahead. We can talk about the rushing yards here. I will say I had nothing, but we can go through my projections. So when I opened up the model this week, I really thought I was going to be taking Jaylen Warren's under rushing yards. I think I'm 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 on that this season. But the model is actually leaning over, and you can see on the right-hand side on the props.cash screen here that they're allowing, they being the Minnesota Vikings, the 6th most rushing yards this season. So with my model actually leaning over in this scenario, albeit not a lot, I'm going to leave this one off of my card. And then let me see where I came in on Jordan Mason. I'm at 80.5 on Jordan Mason, so I'm right with market. I see no edge to the over or the other. We can speak on attempts for these individual or for these men. Rushing attempts, I'm at 16.5 on Jordan Mason, slightly under, but I don't like it because I think the game script plays into Minnesota's hands here. I think Minnesota will be leading this game. I know I got some Vikings fans that follow me like really, really well, like really close, and I appreciate y'all. I hope. I shit on J.J. McCarthy, and I could tell I hurt y'all's feelings a little bit. I'm sorry, but I got to do it again. Carson Wentz is an upgrade for this offense. Carson Wentz I have graded as slightly above average NFL quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, I have as a little more than slightly below average quarterback right now. Look, he started, 3-4 games? There's definitely room for him to grow into it. But in one game this week, Carson Wentz is an upgrade. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Nothing for me on Kenneth Gainwell. So we'll just move on to receiving yards. Here's where I do have some plays, some thoughts. Let's get into it. First and foremost, I am taking Jaylen Warren. Let me go ahead and add this. There's a 23.5, or at least there was an hour ago, a 23.5 at FanDuel on his receiving yards. Yes, still there. Looks like it's still there. I just refreshed. 23.5 minus 114. Jaylen Warren over his receiving yards. I mentioned he leads the team in receiving yards and target share versus too high this year. Minnesota also plays, as I said, a bunch of cover 2 and cover 6. What surprised me is how many receptions and yards Jalen actually has versus cover 6 this season. As being a zone with his short ADOT, you wouldn't expect that as much. But he's dominated versus 2 and 6. I don't love his rush yards. Model leans over. I'm going to leave that alone. Absolutely love his receiving yards. My projections on Warren's receiving here come in at 36.2. So that 23.5 is a no-brainer for me. Absolutely love that, run that, no questions asked. 1 second. All right, we're back in business. Let me get Jaylen Warren on the banner, and then we're going to get to one that I think everybody's going to like, but I really think we've got a good number to play here, over 23.5 direct yards. All right, so there's Jaylen Warren. I told you cover 2, cover 6, too high. Every single scenario plays into his benefit in this matchup. I will say the opposite for DK. Verse 2 high has not been his specialty. I think that's going to kind of prevent him from getting off this week. I still don't hate him as a red zone threat. Rodgers obviously likes to go to him in the red zone. So I still, maybe like him once they get inside the 20. He is, a big body, can jump well, does well coming down with the ball with contact. So I like him maybe still as a red zone threat, but this 50.5 feels a little too high for me. All right, now let's get to one that I know every single person in here is probably going to like, whether you're a Vikings fan or not. Justin Jefferson over 74.5 receiving yards. We were able to lock this in at minus 115. And if you got to play the 75.5, that's still fine. My projections. Keep in mind, Jefferson hasn't even had a great year. And my projections in this matchup versus this secondary is going to be 104 yards. The Steelers secondary is like Jalen Ramsey has played incredible, right? Joey Porter Jr. is still getting into form. He came into the season injured. That being said, and also the offense isn't giving them enough time off of the field, which could be a big problem. Not could be, which is probably a problem in why their defense has looked not what we expect out of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. But I don't think they get that changed tonight. My projections, like I said, were over 100 in this game, similar to JSN last night, who finished at 79. Love Justin Jefferson in this matchup versus a team that plays a lot of cover 1, a lot of cover 3. Those cover 1s, 1 high, Justin Jefferson is going to make you pay. So absolutely love this line. I think this one could be a potential ladder spot. Something I found interesting, Jordan Addison had a really high target share last year versus 1 high as well, second on the team. And then when you get into a cover 3, Hawkinson actually did quite well. So there's a lot of Minnesota receivers that I could lean over to here, but Justin Jefferson is the one that I'm going to go to. And then Jaylen Warren also on the Pittsburgh side of the ball, my third play in that game. Let me get Justin Jefferson up. If you have any questions or plays you want me to go through, just feel free to comment them below, and they should pop up on my screen. We'll go through them. But if nobody has anything else in the Pittsburgh game, Josh Naylor was an interesting spot to me, but keep in mind they get Jordan Addison back this week. He served a 3-game suspension. He'll be back this week versus the Steelers. So that should dive into the Steelers. 3 plays for me. I like the game script for Minnesota. I think Minnesota probably comes out of this game with the W. That is all I have for Pittsburgh. Let's move on to New Orleans, Buffalo. All right, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I really didn't invest a lot of time into this game. Huge spread. It came out now that the Saints are shopping Kamara. So I went through and did notes for every game, and I'm just going to show you guys my notes. I have nothing. I looked over it, man. There's not shit I like in this game. The game script's really nasty. I lied. If there's one thing I do like, my fault. If there's one thing I do like, it's James Cook over his yards, and that's because my model has him over 100. And it just makes sense to me, the game script. You can see 132, 108 in the last, the last two games. I think they come into Buffalo, or wait, is this game in Buffalo or is this game in New Orleans? This game is in Buffalo. Cook at home. I think they're going to be running away with it. Let me go see my projections. Man, I'm at 107. I'm probably going to run this right now. I haven't ran this one yet, but I'm sure his anytime touchdown price is OD, so we probably won't touch it this week. Rushing yards. James Cook, over 74, 114. It's the best number I see. Let me go look at the history. Hasn't really moved around. Is that line even open? I know they closed a lot of these Saints games yesterday when the Kamara news broke. I'd imagine everything's open today, but let me go check before I just go trying to play some shit and it's not even live. Bills. Rushing props. Yes, that line is there. Shoot. I think I am going to run this, fellas. What's the market line on his attempts? The market line is 16.5. My line is 24. 16 feel mad low. Over in 4 of the Bills' last 5 wins. Props.cash, if you're watching, I very much miss when you could set how many points that team won by. I'd love to see win by 10 here. I might like the attempts better than the yards, actually. 16.5, 04 at Bet Rivers. Rushing attempts. All right, it's actually minus 07. Damn. All right, you know what? Model likes it. I'm not getting any market support to this point, but I'm running it. Minus 07 at Bet Rivers. Let me get this out real quick. All right, I played that at Bet Rivers, but every book is 16.5, so I think it's honestly playable everywhere. I'm showing a huge edge. Outside of that in this game, y'all, not a lot. I just don't know how to approach this game. Feels like the Saints are in a tank off. Do they use Kamara and show the league what they got? Do they save Kamara, try to get him gone? I think the model does love Juwan Johnson. Yeah, the model absolutely loves Johnson. There's no one back this week, right? Olave's been there. Rashid Rashid Shaheed has been there. There's nothing new, right? Let's do this. My apologies. Okay, so the model likes Olave over a lot. What I don't like is FanDuel has the best number. And FanDuel I do. But I will say all of the other books have climbed, meaning they've gone the way of the over. I lean under Keon Coleman, which makes sense because I lean under Josh Allen's passing yards. I just don't think he'll need it. I make the line 202. The best under is 221.5 at Rivers. Again, we're not seeing much movement on that line yet either. Passing yards. $216, $215, $216, $221 at Rivers. I do like this under 221.5 at Bet Rivers for Allen's passing yards. I mean, this took fourth quarter heroics. Can we look at something? Will y'all pay attention for 1 second? If you take away the fourth quarter where Josh Allen threw more yards than an average QB throws in 4 quarters, he soared under this line in each game. What makes you think he's airing it out on the Saints? All right, let's run it. Number 2. Let me go make sure Rivers got it. Baker Mayfield, bicep. Chris Godwin, ankle. Tristan Wirfs will be questionable week 4, all trending towards playing, however. All right, get out of here. NFL. Bills. Passing yards. Yes, it is there. Lock that in. Let's go. In there. All right. I do lean under some of those receivers as well, but I'm going to leave the Josh Allen passing yards, and we're going to keep it moving. Let me add that to the banner. All right, that's what we've got so far. We're moving games. Tennessee, Houston. Let me see if I had anything. Harder game to get a feel for. Teams mix up their coverages a lot. Titans have allowed a lot of explosive plays in the pass game with 3 receivers going over 70 yards this season. No plays, only lean is Nico Collins over. That's what I have wrote down. Let's get into it. Cam Ward, I do want to say, oh, wait a second, full game. I do want to say the model was on, hold on, leaning under here, but let me confirm. I'm at 198, so actually a slight lean to the over, but nothing really official there. Oh, sorry. Cam Ward, here we go. Slight lean to the over here, nothing official. And then for CJ Stroud, I'm at 216, so also a very slight lean to the other, but under, my apologies, but nothing official there either. Went through the running backs. Chubb, I came in at 60, so I do lean over there, not in love with it. Pollard, I come in at 69, so also a slight lean to the over there. but nothing that I would consider an actionable edge. Can find a lot larger edges here. In the receiving game, Nico Collins is the only one that caught my eye. Tennessee has allowed some big plays in the passing game. He had 104 yards last week. I don't love this one enough to get behind it. We could get into coverages and things like that, but CJ hasn't looked good. If I had to play anything here, I probably would go Nico over, but I don't have to play anything there, so we're just going to keep it moving on that game. I have nothing in the new Saints-Titans game. I'm sorry, Titans-Texans game. Moving on to the Browns versus Lions. I definitely got some shit in this one. We'll start with Jared Goff. I took Goff under 237.5 passing yards. Looks like MGM has moved about 4 yards, but I would still run the under 233.5. You can see he's under in 2 or 3 games this season. Cleveland's played phenomenally on defense. Let me see what they've allowed. Now the Ravens did beat them, but honestly, if you watch the games, the Ravens didn't even look great. They just had a couple big plays that sparked it. The most passing yards they've allowed in a game this season's 225 to Lamar. We played under 237.5. Season averages 253, but you see this huge outlier game here. And obviously they are expected to be the winners and expecting the run clock here late in the game. So trusting Dan Campbell to go for it on 4th down, have a 10-minute possession in the 4th quarter. And Jared Goff's not going to need to get anywhere near this line for this team to be competitive today. Sunday. Nothing for me on Flacco. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a point soon where one of those younger quarterbacks gets some run. Gibbs and Monty, this one was hard for me. Monty had that big game, but just 12 carries, 151 yards. He had the, 41-yard touchdown. He had a 72-yard rush last week. So, I mean, that's obviously skewing his data some. You can see Gibbs had a few more attempts. Gibbs had a lot more attempts. 22 yards, was only able to put together 22 attempts, was only able to put together 67 yards. I feel like I have a little bit different view than a lot of other people in the industry in terms of what David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs' usages are going to be this season. I still believe we're going to be near that 50-50 split. Not even necessarily snaps, but rushing attempts. And I know we saw Gibbs go off for 22 last game. But I think Monty has just proven that he not only can he be the short yardage back, but if you watch each of these two teams play, I think Monty almost looks more shifty this year than he did last year, and that's coming off of a serious injury. And man, I just brought back a painful memory. If y'all were with me last year, we bet Monty to have 750 rushing yards on the season. He had 749 with what? When did he get hurt? 11, 12 games left? He played 15, so they only had 2 games left. But damn, you're telling me he don't get 1 yard in 2 games? A little blast from the past there. Just remembered that. That being said, let me give you projections on each, but I don't think I'm running either. Monty, I'm at 60. Gibbs, I'm at 61. It's kind of what I was expecting. If I had to play anything, it'd be Monty's over. And if I add anything through the week, it probably is Monty's over. Let's get into the receiving props here. I do lean Gibbs over his receiving yards. I don't think I've played it yet. It was a little higher than I wanted it to be. If this number were like 24.5, it would be no question, get after it. But we have to remember that they're playing Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is just nasty. Really scary to run any overs versus this team. That being said, let's get into more of the coverages stuff. Browns and Lions play the 3rd and 4th most man coverage. Both play a lot of 1 high as well. Jerry Jeudy has a 22% target share versus 1 high this season. That being said, he has not converted a lot. I believe it's either the highest or the second highest on the team. Cedric Tillman and Njoku are both leading him in yards versus 1 high. But again, the targets have been there. He just hasn't been able to convert. Gibbs and Amon-Ra have the same target share versus 1 high. That being said, Amon-Ra hasn't necessarily excelled versus either this season. So I'm going to stay off both of those guys, especially with me already on the under. But if I had to pick one over for one of those guys, it would be Gibbs. I just wanted it a little bit cheaper. JMO, let's go see how JMO's. I think one high for JMO should be good, but let's go see. Again, it's Cleveland too, so I don't love that. Yeah. 1 second, boys. We're loading. Lions. All right, Amon-Ra, 93 yards, 36.8% of the air yards, and a 25% target share versus one high specifically this year. Jamison Williams coming in at second with 87 yards on 5 fewer targets. Average depth of target, I'm assuming, is much deeper. No, they're both at 8. Average depth of target, both at 8. Yards per reception, though, much higher for Jamison Williams, averaging 17.5 yards per reception versus Amon-Ra's 9. What is the reception long? I don't hate a flyer on JMO's reception long here. I don't hate a flyer. It's not something that I'm going to be attacking. But if this were like 19.5, I think it'd be a no-brainer. At 21.5, I'm afraid to still run the under, but nothing on the over here. Jerry Jeudy also, like, does he finally connect on one of these long balls? I don't hate the idea of Jerry Jeudy versus one high on a reception long. Maybe even better because he's playing. Let's not sleep on the Lions defense either. Incredibly, they've done incredible. I think the Browns are surprising us more just because they're the Browns. They've always had a good defense, however, but they're just the Browns. Sorry for any Browns fans listening. All right, let's move on. That's all I got for this game. Washington versus Atlanta. Atlanta plays the third most one high. They were cover 1, cover 3, cover 4 centric. Terry has been a target hog versus every single one of those. Not Terry Rozier. We're in the NBA. Scary Terry, who I saw was either limited or didn't practice again today. Also a fear. We're also waiting. I think Jane Daniels has a chance to play. So this game, another game that's kind of hard to get a read on. I do have, I believe, just one play off the rip and then a couple more things that I'm just going to have to wait and see who plays, who doesn't. I don't want to kind of get caught holding a line I don't want. So for passing yards, going to be nothing for me in this one. Rushing yards, also nothing for me in this one. We know Bijan Robinson has been absolutely killing it, 94, 90, and 170 in his 3 games this year. While I'm not on his rushing yards over, I am on his receiving yards over at 24.5. Atlanta does not have a lot of cover 1 matchups. They have not played against a lot of cover 1 this year, but Washington's going to run the shit out of it. So I went back to last year. Bijan's target share was massive versus cover 1, kind of surprising to me. Let me go see exact numbers, but it was surprising to me. I don't remember if I had single high, double high. No, none of the above. Just give me 1 second here, boys. Checking on Bijan's numbers, and we'll be good to move. Yeah, Bijan, I've got over 60. Like, ladder that up to 40 or 50. I think 60 is quite high, but I absolutely believe 24.5 minus 118 is far too low. Leaning under on Drake London's yards again this week. We cashed that last week. I want to say we laid under 64, 65. He finished at 54. I haven't projected at 54. The line is once again at 66.5. And then I do have a slight lean over to Drake London, Kyle Pitts, but I won't be able to get down on that one. Okay, this is last year. I was going to say, what? All right, this is Bijan this year. So we were able to play an over 24.5, still available at some spots. Like I said, projections are through the roof for this matchup. Bijan 95 yards versus cover 1 this year. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get back. 2025. Yeah, Bijan, second most yards, running a route 70% of the time. Kyle Pitts is actually leading the team in cover 1 targets and cover 1 team yards, so I do still lean over there a lot. Bijan, I feel like, is way too low. Drake London, I feel like, is slightly too high, as you see, 55, 49, 55. You can see here allowing, what is that, the 8th most receiving yards per game this season. I'll probably leave Drake London as an under unless we start to get some kind of movement in our direction. I have that it's actually climbed a yard or two, and then I also have FanDuel isn't open yet. Is that true? Is that true? 1 second. Demons on my body, get them off me. Yeah, not open yet. All right, I would really like to see where FanDuel opens up on that line, but my initial thoughts are Drake London leaning to the under here. I think Bijan Robinson is the only one I don't have up here. I don't have Goff either. Okay, Bijan over 24.5 rec yards. And then we've got Goff under 237.5 passing yards. And then Josh Allen. I got Josh Allen. All right. That's the – I almost deleted that. Thank God I didn't. That's the updated list. As I said in my Discord today, I knew I was going to be firing today. This is how you be early without being too early. Like Daniel Jones opened at over 202.5. I wanted to smack the shit out of that line, but I knew if I attacked it before the Thursday night game, I was just going to rinse my accounts. Now that line's at like 210, 215. Still lean over. We'll get to that. But definitely missed some shit waiting on these lines. Just not wanting to get kicked out. It's a delicate dance between betting as early as I can and keeping my shit alive as long as I can. All right, in this game, running it back under 199.5 for Jalen Hurts. If fucking A.J. Brown doesn't catch that 3rd and 10 ball 15 fucking feet over his head, double coverage where the Philly goes on to score, if that doesn't happen, we smack the shit out of this, and we smack the shit out of A.J. Brown's under. And now listen, I know there's some sharp people in the community that I have some respect for even that say there's no such thing as a bad beat. Listen, when you say shit like that, you're just a boomer who's trying to flex. I don't know what you're trying to flex here. A bad beat doesn't mean that you were even supposed to win. A bad beat meant like you looked like you were going to win the whole time, and then that shit lost. That's a bad beat. So bad beats do exist, and if you want to ride around on your high horse and say shit like that don't exist, maybe there's a reason why every recreational gambler in the industry thinks these sharps are idiots. They don't know how to articulate themselves in a way that can make sense to a sharp and a recreational gambler. And maybe they don't want to, but don't get on your high horse and act like you're also trying to better the industry when all you want to do is get on here and shit on Rex instead of trying to teach somebody something. That's what I do. I get on here, I talk to y'all about my plays, and I try to teach you something. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that watches my NBA or NFL show and to say that they don't get on here and learn something semi-regularly. So hopefully I'm doing a good job about that. I'm done bitching about other people. That's not really my brand. I just saw that on the timeline and thought that was rich. So let's move on. Let's keep going. Jalen Hurts under 199.5. Really like that line. I actually only projected around 195, so the edge isn't as generally as high as I tend to try to attack. But when I saw the market support going my way, generally unders are better to bet at open anyways. And at minimum, I think we give ourselves a 12 to 15-yard middle pregame in this scenario. Baker, I didn't have, really any thoughts on. It is going to be hot as a mother in Tampa Bay. I do believe I saw around 100 degrees at tip-off on the field. So keep that in mind. I live near Philly. Let me tell you, it ain't nothing like 100 up here. It's cool. It's breezy. It's probably a cool 55 to 65 right now. So yeah, nothing on the Baker Mayfield side for me. I don't believe, double checking, triple checking. And I lied like a motherfucker. I do have Baker Mayfield under 225.5. Lock that in at 115 at Fanatics this morning. Let me go see where my line is on that. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. I'm at 197.7. That makes sense. Let's go talk about Philly coverages. I didn't get into. There's only a couple more 1 o'clock games, and I didn't really get to dive into the last few. So let's go to the coverages here. Eagles. What am I seeing here? A decent bit of zone. Really split on the 1 high, 2 high. Some cover 1, some cover 3, some cover 4. They throw a lot at you. There's not one specific thing I think you're looking to attack here. I do lean over Bucky Irving's rushing yards. I want to say I'm at 78. What worries me is if Tampa Bay gets into a negative game script, and I don't have a game script read on this one, like with the Bills. Obviously I'm not doing anything spectacular, assuming the Bills are going to win there, right? It's a 15-point spread. That being said, this Philly game, I think it's like 2.5. If you ask me, Philly really has not looked good outside of the fourth quarter of last week. Championship layover, I don't know what it is, but Philly has not impressed me. I really would lean Tampa Bay here if I had to take a side. We'll see what I have Saquon's rushing yards at. $67. I mean, really, I lean under, and I don't hate that. I make it 67. Best number in the market's 82 on the under. What I don't like is FanDuel has one of the best prices to the under. I respect their props a lot. So I lean under here for Saquon. Probably leave that play alone, however. Let's go look at Tampa Bay. I know I said Phillies really mixes up their coverages a lot. Let's look at the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, a little bit more man, not a lot. A little bit more 1 high, however, not a lot. Really heavy cover 3 team. A little bit of cover 1 and cover 4 mixed up, but a really heavy cover 3 team. I am interested to go see how Philly's done versus cover 3. I do remember last year Devontae Smith was a dog. This year, I mean, there's not been a lot of routes. These guys have each ran about 30 routes here. A.J. Brown, 30 routes, 5 targets, 60 yards on 4 receptions. Devontae Smith, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 36 yards. Average depth of target is 14 yards for A.J. Brown versus cover 3, where Devontae's sub 10. Goddard's at 4. I want to say my model liked something on Goddard, but I was afraid to take it. Yeah, 26.9, but I think they've allowed a lot between the hashes, and that's where Goddard's kind of tore him up this year. So you know what? My model leans under on Dallas Goedert, but my heart tells me to leave this game or leave this play specifically alone. Emeka Egbuka, this is going to be interesting to see if Godwin is back this week. How are they working with all 3 of those receivers? If you've paid attention to the Tampa games, and Egbuka is dominating in Godwin's role, but don't get it twisted. Every time Godwin's healthy, he's been one of the best slot receivers in the league. So I don't know what to expect with this team when they all get back. Baker's a great quarterback. I mean, they might just sling the shit out of it. That being said, if Godwin plays, expect the ball to be worked around a little bit more. I don't know if that helps or hurts Mike Evans. I know he's dealing with the lower hamstring injury. Going to be hard to pay extra attention to him if Godwin comes back to his original self and the rookie keeps playing like this. Nothing for me on the rookie in this game with Godwin coming back, but impressed with what I've seen from him out of the slot through this point of the season. I've always been a receptions, Eagles. So Devontae, I'm at 4.8, right? We're at 4.5 plus money at a lot of spots. Plus +08 at Rivers. I do lean that way. I do like that line. And I have absolutely no clue why my A.J. Brown shit's not popping up, but I can go just find out real quick what his numbers were. We did the Titans, we did the Texans, we did the Commanders, Falcons, Eagles. 3.93. I'm not sure why that's not auto-populating, but I'd lean under. Pardon me, especially that plus 11. Under plus 111. FanDuel has gone opposite of me, though. I mean, they open like juice to the under, going to the over. I'm going to monitor. Sorry, I'm on A.J. Brown's receptions now. I'm going to monitor this line. I mean, there looks to be a chance this line goes to 5.5. If it goes to 5.5, I would be interested in the under, like a 5.5, 125. The way the market's moving, I would not rule that out. I am interested in where I have Saquon's rushes. Pardon me, boys. Still shaking this little cold. Saquon rush attempts, I come in at 17.3. So again, I'm leaning under to that plus money at DK, under 18.5 plus money. I don't get the vibe that this one's moving, however. So yeah, I'll leave it as a lean to the under and kind of keep it pushing from there. Next, we have Carolina, New England. I am on McMillan's over, and I think that's it. Yeah, McMillan's over is the only thing I'm on to this point, but let's go through each and every spot here. So Bryce Young, where do I come in on Bryce? 236, really, really large lean to the over here. FanDuel's absolutely danced around with the juice, but kind of holding strong to that 205, 206 number. There's a 202 available at Bet Rivers. Again, my number is, what did I say? 236.5 on the nose. Actually leaning over both of these quarterbacks in this game. Lean over for Drake May as well. He's over in all three. Twelfth in pass yards, nothing too scary. You want to know something I really dislike about Drake May? Oh, that line's moved already. So let me tell you why I don't like Drake May. This is my website that I'm working on. You can see 208. The line was 218.5. This line has moved. It's now, 1 second. I want to say it's 211.5. So the market has moved against me. And I'm working on an auto tracker that's going to track my model. And I have some data already, and it's the ROI percentage this season is near 11% when the market agrees with the projection, which is just an absurd number. I don't expect to hold quite that much all season. But that being said, I'm doing so much better. When the market's moving against me this year, I'm at like 4 or 5%, which most pros would kill for. But I think that could be more variance. I'm going to stay off of Drake May here. I lean over both of these QBs. We got time too. If you see me play either of these, it's because something else happened, but nothing for me right now. One thing I will say, I do lean under Chuba Hubbard. No quarterback. No running back has gone over 50 yards versus New England this year. If you remember, we ran Warren last week under 55.5, finished with 47. Model really loved Gainwell here as well, but I didn't bet it. Should have. The problem I'm having here is I think my model actually likes the over for Hubbard. No, I'm at 41.2. Scratch that. All right. We might be back in business then. Do some refreshing here. If you depend on unabated, while I still am until I finish up mine, don't worry. I'm going to have something far better available for far cheaper for the NBA season, hopefully. I think I'll have this up and running in the next week or two. $46.5 at FanDuel. 52.5 at DK. 52.5 at Caesars. No, Bet Online, Rivers. I am a little upset that I missed the Rivers at 54.5. I'm a little upset I missed the MGM at 55.5. I still like the 52.5, however. I'm going to leave it as a lean for now, but I do lean under Chuba Hubbard. We've not got the best of the price, but I still lean that way. All right, I am on McMillan. I think there is some questionable here for him today. For Sunday. So keep an eye on him, but I want to say he was a full participant in practice yesterday when I played this. I played it at over 67.5, so the line's moved a decent bit, it looks like. Looks like if you're on, pardon me, if you're on Sleeper, however, it looks like the line is still available, and I would run that over. Let me give you my projection so I can tell you if I think there's still value. 80.1. So I would still lean over. One second here. I got to double check the line. Because if they're at 66.5, I might fuck around and hit it twice. No, they're at 72.5. Hard Rock is at 65.5, 115. It looks like FanDuel just closed, but they were at 66.5. So I'd like to see where that opens back up. And also let me go to Twitter to make sure there are no... NFL will play at least 3 regular season games in Rio de Janeiro over the next 5 years. No one gives a fuck. Alec Pierce, concussion ruled out. Jonnu Smith, questionable. Jalen Warren, questionable. Great. McMillan calf officially questionable. He was expected to play earlier in the week. Okay, well, now either be 100% or sit. Chuba Hubbard questionable for week 4. That's funny because we were just looking at his under. It might be closed up. Jaden Daniels was ruled out while we were on stream. Terry McLaurin ruled out while we were on stream. Okay. Big for Debo, but I imagine those lines moved a lot. Xavier Legette, who's not been fucking shit, is out. Big for McMillan if he does play. And that's got us caught up. Yo, shout outs to everybody for the like and the retweet. Shout outs to my guy Justin. Shout outs to my guy Rex. Shout outs to my guy Matt. I appreciate all the likes, all the retweets. Help me grow the brand. Help me grow the page. Hopefully we can make a little money together. All right, we're going to move on. Looks like that game might even be locked up right now anyways. Chargers versus Giants. I said this on one of my buddies' spaces last week, maybe early this week. I think hot take, be ready for it. I think the Los Angeles Chargers are the best team in the NFL right now. I don't care that Najee got hurt. That Omarion Hampton looks like he's going to be fine. Just the wide receiver group. Herbert's playing out of his mind. Obviously, Jackson Dart's fucking shit. Sorry if you're a Giants fan. He's ran like four or five runs this year. So I'm judging him way too early, but it's just your first start versus the best team in the league. Worried for him. Cam Scatterboo, I don't know where to go with him in this game because it's going to be like his first game as like the full workhorse back. Tracy's I don't know if I heard what Tracy's injury is, but it looked pretty bad. I don't expect him back for a long time or this season. So expect a big bump out of what you're expecting from Cam Scatterboo. But with this game being as ugly as it's projected to be, what's the spread in this one? Only 6, bruh. Give me that Chargers -6 at DK right now. Like, what are we talking about? Give me Chargers -6 at DK all day. Malik Neighbors, you either loved it or hate it. They said, what do you think after having 6 starting QBs since you've been here? This is your 18th game. He said they're going to find a way to get one the ball. Maybe, or they're just going to keep throwing a new quarterback at you until you leave. I mean, he's got a bunch of talent. I'm not trying to say that. He's an amazing player. That comment was just weird to me. Like, in the locker room feel. So what? Now Jackson Dart's got to throw it to you 12 times a game, or he's on the pine, and they're just going to go get. Now it's Jameis's turn. I don't think that's a good mindset to be in as a teammate. That's my qualms. I still think he's a great player. Also, you can't be upset about these 2 games, 12 and 13 targets. Like, I don't know. Is Dart an improvement? You got the Chargers, you got the Chiefs, you got the Eagles twice. I think you got the Saints next week, so you got to lay up next week. If it were me, I would have played him next week. The Saints are trash. Don't go ruin his confidence versus the Chargers. That's just me. Outside of that, I don't have a lot in this game. Keenan Allen has played incredibly well. Quentin Johnston's played incredibly well. Ladd has actually left something to be desired. But when you're spreading the ball around, when you're 3-0, I don't think Ladd's sitting over there upset. He's still going to have his big games. And honestly, all these players playing better around him is going to do nothing but take the attention off of him. Keenan Allen, as I said, has played great. Quentin Johnston has saved his career. I think this is his third year in the league, and you're lying to yourself. If you independently probably didn't talk shit on this man once on Twitter because he sold a slip. I know I did. So he's played great this year. I know I said play his longest reception until otherwise said not to. So we're going to go get into some coverage grades versus the Giants. Giants, 5th most one high in the league. Oh, my God. Cover 1, 2nd most. Oh, this game might have Quentin Johnston wrote all over it. First we go just cover 1. Then we're going to throw 1 high into the mix. Oh, my God. Yep, leading the team in yards versus each. Average depth of target, 18.5. Verse 1 high this year, any scheme, 153 yards, 50 yards more than the next highest receiver. Where's my number? Because if my number's over, we on it. Damn. I'm right at 50.5. I think longest reception's probably the better look. Also, I think that 4.5 targets might be, or 4.5 receptions. Definitely not at that price. If I had to play anything on Quentin here, I would go longest reception. If I had to go anything here, but he's my favorite receiver on the Chargers in this matchup for sure. So if I'm not running his 50.5 over, I'm not running Keenan's or Ladd's. Amarian, where is he at? 17.5, 59 last game. I want to say he had a long though, 22-yard reception. So he also had 80 or 59 yards after. Everything was after the catch. What did we say? The Giants play a lot of one high, not too high. Yeah. Marion Hampton versus one high has ran 42 routes, 6 targets. Average depth of target is 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. I'm going to have nothing here for Marion Hampton either. Quentin Johnston's my best lean in that game. All right, shit, that looks like it brings us through the 1 o'clock. So I'll go through each and every game now, try to find some anytime touchdown scores that I like, and then we'll call it the stream. Pardon me. We're right at an hour, which is good. It's kind of what I was aiming for. We'll go maybe an hour and 15 here looking for anytime tutters. Pardon me. And then I'll have a stream tomorrow. All right, Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Low key, the two that jumped to my mind right away, I do like DK as the red zone threat. I've talked about that. I don't hate Calvin Austin in the slot, though. I like Calvin Austin anytime touchdown in that game, probably more so than Jalen Warren. I think Minnesota's rush defense has been quite good. Jonnu Smith had that early one in the beginning of the year, hasn't got the look since. I'd probably stay off of that. Let's go look at some end zone targets for this team versus cover one. You're seeing Keenan Allen getting the lion's share. It's only plus 116. Oh, no, it isn't. Plus 165. Okay, that's a lot different. I might take a sprinkle here on – this is the one thing my site doesn't have yet. So let me go do some extra shopping. I'm having a hell of a time pulling anytime touchdown data. Player prop. Anytime touchdowns. Chargers. You know what, though? I actually do. I could get behind a Cam Scatterboo anytime touchdown. He looks like he's going to be Dart's going to force it to Malik in the red zone. Keenan Allen, I got a plus 180 at Unibet. Plus 180 at Bali. Plus 180 at Rivers. I do kind of like Keenan Allen anytime touchdown here. Again, I don't hate Cam and I don't hate Quentin either. I mean, his haven't really been okay. He had 3 red zone targets last week for no tutters. I mean, he's the type that they can be sitting on the 40. They're 40. Herbert airs one out and he scores a 60-yard bomb. Let me see the best odds on Quentin. Looks like plus 225 at 365 is the best line I see there. I'm torn. I like both guys to score. Let's go here again. Passing yards 31st. Rushing touchdowns 30th. I don't want to lay minus 120 on that rookie that he scored once. He has had 6 red zone rush attempts this year. Let me go see inside the 5 if he's getting all the work. My assumption is it has to be, but let me go check that out. Advanced rushing. Yo, what's up? I see a few people just joined in. If you're just joining us, everything I have played is on the bottom of the screen rolling. Now I'm just going through trying to find a couple anytime touchdowns. We are going through just the 9:30 in the morning and 1 o'clock slate for Sunday. All right, yeah, he is absolutely getting the lion's share of inside the 5 for them. Not a lot of attempts though. Yeah, definitely not playing it at that price. Definitely not playing. My 2 favorite are going to be Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston in this game. I don't hate a Cam Scatterboo either. Wow. Look, I mean, the Chargers are literally built for Russell Wilson to throw against them. I hope Jackson Dart proves he has the arm that Russell Wilson does. 2 leans in this one. I'm going to write him down. I might come back to him at the end. We might throw together like a 3-leg parlay. 2 leans are Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston here. I like Keenan Allen better though in that matchup specifically. Carolina, New England. Hubbard's now questionable. McMillan's questionable. I got nothing in that game. I'm not going to waste our time. I want to go see Philly's rush defense. Hurts has scored in every game. Two of his last 3 versus Tampa Bay. Jalen Hurts taking 50% of them. Saquon's at the other 50%. I think Daniel Jones has actually been incredible inside the 5 as well. I lean over Hurts to score here. Minus 135 is the best price. He scored in all 3 this season, 8 of his last 10. Tush push doesn't look like it's going anywhere. That might be the first one right there. I'm going to write it down, but we probably run Hurts. Let me go check the market, see if I can beat that. 135. Minus 112 at stake if you can get down there. Minus 130 at ESPN. Minus 130 at ESPN. So far, that would be my favorite. So Carolina, New England, nothing. Philly, Tampa Bay. Outside of Hurts. New piece coming back, also might be down. Mike Evans. I think there's a receiving touchdown to be had here as well. Don't know who it'll be. I don't hate Goddard for a little bit of a long shot here at plus 380. Scored in that last game. Didn't score last game versus Tampa Bay, but he did have a red zone target. No red zone targets this year. I'd say that changes. Lean on Dallas Goedert anytime touchdown there as well, but I'm not going to make that official. Washington, Atlanta, Bijan's minus 175. This line's probably locked up, but I wouldn't. I'm interested in a Debo anytime touchdown. It's probably locked after the Terry and the Marcus Mariota starting news, but that would be my lean in that one. Maybe a flyer on Kyle Pitts, though. Cleveland, Detroit, obviously I like both of these backs to score. Give me Monty at even money if you're going to charge me fucking minus 170 on Gibbs. I would be tempted to play the under on Gibbs at plus 125. The hold's way too wide, but if that was like plus 150, I would almost have to entertain the idea. Even money looks like the best line for us on Monty. Listen, I spoke on this Lions game earlier. If you watched, I think Monty is just as good as ever, and I think the gap between these two has fallen. Monty's dominating inside the 5 again this year. Let's go ahead and run Monty even money at 365. Shoutouts 365 in Maryland now. All right, we in that bitch. Went full unit on that one. I do like Monty a lot. All right, let's keep it moving. Tennessee, Houston, I'm not sure that I'll have anything in this one. Isaiah Likely fully practices today. Probably back next week. Tennessee, Houston. Christian Gonzalez, hamstring questionable for week 4. A lot of news coming out. Make sure you are on top of the NFL injury news. If you're doing Survivor, hopefully after today we have all the injury news and we can get that out. I think I have 16 of my 25 survivors still alive. Looking at my numbers here, there's nothing really sticking out to me in the Tennessee game. Not forcing Buffalo. We can see the price on James Cook. Yeah, minus 200. We keep it pushing. That'd be my favorite play. I don't like that game, so we stay off of it. Minnesota versus Pittsburgh. I spoke on this one in the beginning. It looks like Monty's going to be the only one I'm really ready to get after. Minnesota, Pittsburgh. I think Calvin Austin could be like a real sneaky play here at plus 275. You see he scored in 2 of the 3 games this year, red zone target in each of those. If you followed Aaron Rodgers' career, this is like his Allen Lazard this year, right? He's always got that great guy, that Devontae Adams, but then he has that other guy, right, that steals some touchdowns. Honestly, let's just say Rodgers makes look better than he actually is. So yeah, Monty anytime touchdown. Let me add that to the banner, and then I'm not gonna throw together any parlays and shit yet. We'll do that when we have boosts. All right, I think we're gonna call it a show there. Let me make sure I've got everything out. Okay, so here's everything we have for week 1 early slate. A lot of plays. Aaron Rodgers under 213.5 passing yards. I locked that in, minus 115 at MGM. I believe it's still available at 211. I would still take that. I have him just under 200. Jalen Hurts under 199.5. My model actually was just slightly under this, but we've got a lot of market movement. I knew we would. One line was 199, one line was 190. So we took the under 199.5 minus 115 at Hard Rock. Do not be surprised if this line moves far enough that we middle that one. Baker Mayfield under 225.5 passing yards minus 115 at Fanatics. I do believe 224.5 was basically painted. So obviously that number is good to go as well if you don't have a Fanatics or a Will Fanatics. 1.15 units, Jared Goff under 237.5 passing yards. I believe I was around 202 on this one as well. I just think the Lions are going to dominate that game. Cleveland's defense also pretty strong. Next, Matthew Stafford under 255.5 passing yards. I actually don't think I went over that one. I did not. We can circle back and get that one at the end after I finish going through the rest. And if I miss any others, I will add that. So we will go back to the Stafford and go over that one. I thought I went over it, but I don't think I saw it in there. Rodgers, Warren, Jefferson, Cook, Allen, Bijan, Goff, Monty, now Stafford. Yeah, okay. Now we're moving. Now we've got Bijan Robinson over 24.5 receiving yards. We've got that on there. McMillan over 67.5 receiving yards. I don't have that on the banner either, so let me get that in there. McMillan over 67.5. I played this yesterday. There's been a lot of news come out. He was expected to play. Now he's questionable. Xavier Legette's out, so I don't think that hurts him. But this line's going to be volatile until we figure out what his injury news is officially going to be. Jaylen Warren, you see the over 23.5 there. He is now also questionable. However, I do have Justin Jefferson's receiving yards up here, but I didn't put the number. We played the over 74.5 rec yards. We played the over 74.5 rec yards for Justin Jefferson there. James Cook, we played over 16.5 rushing attempts. I made that number all the way up to 24. Like his rushing yards as well. I have that one near 100, and I believe we could lay a 70. The reason I went with the attempts is a little more wiggle room, I think. I think my model projections also were about 4% higher on the attempts rather than the yards. Josh Allen under 221.5 passing yards minus 115. Simply said, I don't think he's going to need it. Also, he would have went under in every game had he not had a 251-yard fourth quarter alone, week 1 versus Baltimore. And then last but not least, I did go one full unit. David Montgomery, anytime touchdown. I do have that there. So that's going to wrap it up. Let me go through it one more time now that we officially have everything. Then we'll call it a show right in hour 20. Expect about the same for tomorrow's episode. All right, Aaron Rodgers under 213.5 passing yards. Jaylen Warren over 23.5 receiving yards. Justin Jefferson over 74.5 receiving yards. James Cook over 16.5 rushing attempts. Josh Allen under 221.5 passing yards. Bijan Robinson over 24.5 receiving yards. Jared Goff under 237.5 passing yards. David Montgomery, anytime touchdown. Matthew Stafford, under 255.5 passing yards. McMillan, over 67.5 receiving. That is the line I'm most worried about. If you haven't played it yet, don't, because there's a lot more injury news coming up than I expected. Hey, good to be back. Struggled through it. Hopefully the coughing and the shit didn't bother you. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 12 o'clock Eastern. Best of luck today. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Until then, man, let's go.